because I don't know how much money would that cost. I've tried to negotiate and all of that, but we'll see. If I can't get a yearly rental, I can just get a monthly renter for a couple of months and have it work out. Hopefully. I'm just so tired and sleepy. So I was watching a little bit of YouTube before I slept. And there was a critique of Tradwives content. Now here's the thing, I've been on both spectrums, right? So I've been emotionally independent since I was 13 years old, right? So my dad died when I was 13 and he was my confidant. I would tell him everything. And after he died, I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but let's say I lost my confidence. So I learned to kind of deal with things on my own, and I already was independent since I was a child. I remember there was an instance of girls bullying me, and my dad asked me if I wanted to change schools, and I'm like, no dad, I'm not gonna run away from them. And it ended up being fine, because I always stood up to my bullies, always. Even sometimes it took me a while to stand up to them, but I ended up doing it. Anyways, so back to Tradwives content. So I've been working since I was 19 years old. I started to get like tutoring jobs and all of that. I started to try to work at 15, but where I lived, that wasn't happening, you know, nobody was gonna hire a 15-year-old, no matter how hard I tried. And, but I finally found a job at 19. And I've been independent until I got married at 26. When I got married, you guys remember I told you my ex was very possessive. So he did not allow me to work at all. That man was so possessive that he was jealous of his own dad. Can you believe? Anyways, so he did not allow me to work, and I wasn't really interested in working because at that time I've been working for what? 26 minus 19. I don't know, you do the math. 7 years maybe. So I was tired of working, you know, especially that I didn't have a spine back then. Oh, that's unfair to me. I did have a spine, but I just was, you know, keep your head down and focus on work. I faced bullying a lot at work, in different workplaces. And that's part of the reason why my ex married me, kinda to save me. And I was such a, you know, I was scared of conflict. I wanted everybody to like me, you know, whatever young girl faces. And I stayed home for 2 years, and they used to give me a very, very shitty allowance. And he expected me to take care of myself with that shitty allowance. So let's say it was $150, and I had to, you know, if I was sick, I had to go to a hospital without insurance and pay for my medication without insurance with that $150, which, you know, is impossible. I had to, you know, pay my phone bill. I had to do everything with that $150. And it was just impossible. And I tried to get him to, you know, increase it a bit, which he did to, I think, $250. But again, I was also helping out my family and all of that, so it didn't make sense. And it wasn't like, oh, here's your allowance and I'll pay for everything you need. No, was, here's your allowance, don't ever ask me for a single damn thing. He was a natural provider. But again, I'm not gonna tear him down. There was so many good qualities about him. That's why I stayed married to him for 7 years. But again, it's just the idea of ordering pasta at Burger King. So, nothing wrong with either, but you will never find pasta at Burger King. If you really want pasta, you need to go somewhere that serves the pasta. So that was mainly the case in our marriage, and plus the fact that he went very, very cold and indifferent, very, very indifferent towards the end. There's a difference between love and possession. Love is, even if our relationship ended, you would care about the well-being of that person, or at least try to help them if they're in trouble. Possession is like having a car. Once you sell it, you never look back and you never wash it, you never take care of it again. It's just a car. So I was a possession. I was not loved, sadly. And I used to mix up the two. Anyway, back to Dread Wives content. So what worries me about these ladies is that they don't know that the man they divorce is not the same man they marry. And they're giving up financial security and their jobs and all of that. That's fine. You want to stay home and take care of the kids and you don't want to work a day in your life. That's okay. That's okay. Hell, a lot of men don't even want to work anymore. Have you ladies heard of something called a passive income? Have you heard of stock, cryptocurrency, investments, trust funds? Have you heard of any of that? You don't automatically have to be a slave, a wife, same thing, to a man to achieve financial security. I kind of like, if I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a man, and if a woman only wants to be with me so I can spend on her, I would have no respect for that woman, and I would try to get my money's worth as much as I can. Like, I'm just thinking, if I was the man in this situation, you know, I don't know, if you're a guy, you tell me if I'm wrong. But if I see a woman who can handle herself, even if her situation is horrible, but she's with me because she chooses, she wants me, she loves me, I'd spoil her endless. But then again, that's just me in an alternative universe. But I don't think there is, God help me for saying this, much of a difference between a prostitute and a woman who solely marries or is with a guy because he's spending money on her. How is that different? That one is socially and religiously acceptable and the other's not. And don't get me started on religion, that's gonna be a whole nother video. You're not a child. You're a woman. You need to take care of your finances. You need to learn about finances. It's a life skill. Just like we expect men to learn how to cook and clean up after themselves. He's not a baby. You're not a baby. Grow up. Trust me. I, myself, there's nothing more that I would like than to be in love with a generous man who spoils me rotten, because that's how my dad used to, my dad spoils me rotten. I could ask him for anything and he would provide it to me. But I don't want him to provide for me because I can't get it on my own. I want him to do it because he loves me. I want him to do it because he wants to dote on me the same way as I would dote on him. I doted on my ex-husband. I didn't give him birthdays. I gave him birthdays. expensive items. I sent him luxury roses to his office on his birthday. Whenever I went out with friends, I used to buy him his favorite coffee, Nespresso. Or I always, so it's not like I want a man, I want a rich husband. Oh, and don't get me started about those Slavic content. Lord help me. Anyways, so yeah, you're not a child. You're not a child. You hit puberty or you've hit legal age of consent. It's time for you to take care of you. 60% of marriages end up in divorce. And that's marriages. I can't even imagine how many relationships end up in a breakup. Nothing wrong with a princess treatment, but you want to know a real princess treatment? If he's doting on you and brings you a maid and a nanny for the kids, not you doing the labor. And then maybe he's very, very wealthy. Then you can have like volunteering or, some charity, like what we see with royal families, with Princess Catherine and all of that. She has the early years that even with actual princesses, they're not just sitting at home chopping onions. Again, if you want that life, like my mother was working her whole life, she was the breadwinner. Sadly, because my dad tried so hard, he was working double shifts and all of that, he just couldn't bring in the money that my mom did. And so my mom was like, I've always wanted to just stay at home and wash my husband's feet. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's the intent. Are you solely in this relation? If I were to take away the money, the guy's broke now, he can't afford to feed you. You can stay with him. You still want to be a trad wife. It just pisses me off because it's just a prostitution repackaged in a society accepted way. And when the man walks out, because the man will walk out eventually, you're on your own. Bitch, I was homeless because I trusted my ex with my well-being. I was homeless. Homeless. Every time I needed to piss, it was a frickin' war strategy. Where am I gonna go? Should I go to the hotel this time? Oh, but they've already seen me 3 times. What if they start asking questions? Okay, maybe I'll walk 20 minutes to the mall so I can use the public bathroom there. Oh no, all stores are occupied. What am I gonna do? This is the life that is waiting for you if you don't take care of your finances. You don't want to work. Maybe you don't want to work at a certain line of work. Try something else that you like. Try something that doesn't feel like work. I work in psychology and well-being. It doesn't feel like work because I love it. I absolutely love it. I develop content for corporates about mental well-being and different topics. And I love it. I'm constantly working, like thinking about work. So maybe you can just find a job that you like. Or if you don't want to work at all, find ways to make passive incomes. Be a trad wife. your husband is Elon Musk or Bill Gates, guess what? They both divorced their first wives. You look after yourself because you're an adult. Again, if the man is gonna dote on you because he loves you, that's beautiful. Congratulations. But let him do it because he wants to, not because he has to, because your broke ass is leeching off of it. What if he dies? Then what? Let him put stock in your name, bonds in your name, real estate in your name. I don't give a shit about allowances. He gives you allowance for 10 years, then God takes his soul. Then what? You have a gap of 10 years in your CV. Who the hell's gonna hire you? Unless you have, like, saving bonds and all of that. So just be realistic. Stop believing religion. Stop believing fairy tales. Stop believing shit that does not happen in the 3D reality. My whole life, be good and God will protect you. Give to the poor and God will provide. Well, guess what? I was homeless. Is that God's fault? No. It's because I didn't have financial intelligence. I didn't have financial literacy. I didn't have financial skills. So we need to stop pinning everything on God and start taking accountability for our choices. God is not our trust fund. He is not our saving bonds. You want to give to the poor, you give from overflow. You give it and you budget it and you properly take care of yourself. God's there. I know He's there. But your life is your responsibility, not a man's, not God's, not mommy and daddy. If you're an adult, it's your responsibility. God won't come down from heavens and take you out of that abusive marriage. You have to leave on your own. Okay? So take care of yourselves, girls, and I'm sorry if I was a bit harsh. But I've been dragged through the mud, through the